American farmers are finding out that MAGA actually stands for Make Argentina Great Again. Just why is the U.S. government spending taxpayer money it doesn't have on bailing out Argentina? Well, when will help come for the United States citizens? We're going to talk about it. I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Hit subscribe, and if you want to support us even more, become a member at combatvetnews.com. Links in the description. Okay, so U.S. soy farmers, as we've talked about, are pretty mad because the U.S. government's going forward with Trump's $20 billion Argentina bailout plan. In fact, there's been some talk that this plan is actually going to double. And even Senator Chuck Grassley, who's 400 million years old, who I guarantee it is not cognitively intact, I was asking, why would the USA help bail out Argentina while they take American soybean producers' biggest market? A reference to China. We should. Oh my God, he still thinks you tweet like you text. Jesus Christ, dude. Use leverage at every turn to help hurting farm economy. Family farmers should be top of mind in negotiations by representatives of USA. Oh my God, Chuck Grassley, dude. Honestly, he's right. And he is so fucking cringe and so difficult. Cool, bro. Cool. It's like the person I agree with. This is the most Democratic politician tweet I've ever seen in my life. Okay, but when asked, "Hey man, why are you continuing to provide aid to Argentina, despite the fact that U.S. farmers are getting their butt kicked?" And the fact that the whole government is shut down. So, like, maybe we could provide some aid to, I don't know, Americans. Trump said Argentina is fighting for its life. Not that American soybean farmers aren't. He answered, "Young lady, you don't know anything about it. They have no money. They have no anything." Yeah, but so do federal employees, and they're American citizens. Trump said aid to Argentina didn't directly harm U.S. soybean producers, that they'd been hurt by a separate policy, the trade war with China. But again, this is White House idiocy right here. This is their terrible policy making it work. They go, what does China have to do with Argentina? They're totally separate. Well, they're not, because as U.S. soybean farmers painfully can tell you that China, if they want soybeans, they can buy American soybeans or they can buy Argentine soybeans, right? And so if you subsidize Argentine soybeans, they're going to become cheaper than American soybeans, which are currently tariffed, right? So if you're China, you're going to buy Argentine soybeans. And then the problem is that you then have to sit there and go, hey, we already established these relationships. We can already trust these soybeans to show up. They're not going to have some crazy soybean trade war. Let's continue to buy from Argentina and buy less from the United States on an ongoing basis. This is a problem for a bunch of geopolitical reasons. And I'm not somebody who's like a mega farm subsidy guy. I think that subsidizing agriculture is like a terrible policy for the United States, honestly, because like imagine having the best education system in the world, and you devote a large portion of your government investments into growing soybeans. It's like, listen, the Argentinians can grow soybeans. We should grow, I don't know, AI, rocket ships, fucking stealth fighter jets. That's what we do well. But what do I know? The important thing, though, is that right now, today, U.S. soy producers are really getting their butt kicked, right? Now, to understand why we're making Argentina great again, and by the way, this isn't the only thing, right? In response to this criticism from American farmers, Trump is actually suggesting that the U.S. is now going to cough up taxpayer money to buy Argentine beef to bring down prices for American consumers because of a trade war he caused. And so on Air Force One on Sunday, Trump said the U.S. is going to purchase Argentine beef to bring down prices for American consumers. He said if we do that, beef prices will come down. Not sure what he's referring to. Again, is the U.S. government going to buy like a strategic beef reserve and then resell it? Is it going to subsidize? It's weird, right? And Trump is working to help Argentina bolster its collapsing currency with a $20 billion credit swap line and additional financing from sovereign funds. This is the find out phase of this terrible economic policy, right? Every economist, basically from 1950 onward, says that tariffs aren't a universal no, but tariffs are tiny tools that should be used sparingly, like a chemotherapy, right? It can address a very specific problem, like, for example, China stealing American technology and then using it to manufacture our goods cheaper. Look no further than China's scaled up BYD. The BYDs look disturbingly a lot like Teslas, and it's clear that China obtained Tesla intellectual property to do so. And now to say, hey, you guys stole from an American company, we're going to tariff BYD, and we're going to tariff Chinese electric cars. That is actually a completely reasonable use of tariffs. But every economist is going to tell you that Trump-style tariffs, i.e. tariff everybody, tariff everything, is economically a bad decision. And this is exactly why. Because when you make it more expensive to import beef that is already expensive to make in the United States because of the drought, then you create a situation where prices rise. This is what literally every economist said would happen. So now the U.S. goes, well, we're just going to spend more of our tariff money to buy Argentinian beef to like lower beef prices for the U.S. It's circular logic. It is pointless. It is pointless additional spending to, and here's the thing. American beef producers could be like, yo, why don't you subsidize us? Why don't you just cough up tax money to make beef cheaper? Now, obviously, without in those kind of markets, you end up with a beef shortage. But the takeaway from this should be that again, tariff money, remember that Trump said was totally going to go back to the American people. It was totally going to go to paying down the debt and shoring up our troubling economic situation. In fact, the White House said that the one big, beautiful bill said Trump's tariffs were going to fund everything. The debt is going to vanish. But wait, now we have to subsidize the Argentinians with our tariff money. Now we have to use it to buy Argentinian beef. Why can't we just drop the tariffs and get beef from whatever country on earth has cheap beef? Someone has a beef surplus. Let's get theirs. This is simple economics, right? And the problem is that the administration, remember, they explicitly say 50% of the Americans that align or at least voted for the Democratic Party in the last election, Trump says you're a Satanist. He literally hates you. He called the Democrats a pest to be eliminated. He called it the party of Satan. He called it evil, right? So clearly his interest in helping 50% of Americans is zero. And so for him, it's not about your country. It's not about people. It's about who has been loyal to him. And Argentinian President Javier Milei has been loyal to Trump, right? Now, Milei Al Jazeera calls him far right. He is not. He is a turbo-libertarian, a free trade militant who is really trying to bring the free market into Argentina in a way that previous governments hadn't allowed. But Trump considers himself to be a Javier Milei figure. The difference, we've talked about this, couldn't be more clear. Argentina had years and years of 100% plus inflation, right? Argentina is a country in crisis that requires crisis-level solutions. The U.S. economy has the world's most stable currency, has the world's largest economy, and is one of the most productive nations in human history. 300 million people producing more goods and services than the entire population of China is an insane level of productivity. So, but Trump in his heart, as many Republicans believe, that the U.S. government is so ineffective, that U.S. government rulemaking is so restrictive that we are basically Argentina, which is only true if you hate statistics and hate math, which a lot of them do. But Trump considers himself to be a spiritual friend of Javier Milei. And so that means that Javier Milei has to be right, even if he's not, right? So Javier Milei's policies in some ways have helped stabilize the Argentinian government, stabilize their spending, and brought in more foreign direct investment into Argentina, right? And but the fact is that Trump wants him to be right and is willing to spend massively to ensure that's the case. And so for a free market libertarian, going to your friend and asking for a handout should be anathema, right? But again, he's getting a $20 billion handout. He's getting subsidies for his soybeans. He's getting his beef purchased by the U.S. at presumably inflated prices. All of this is just anathema. This is not libertarianism, right? This is, again, state capitalism. This is go to your friends and get them to write you, go to your friendly governments, get them to write you a check and subsidize your entire economy. And literally, Trump has no mask about it. There's no pretending. He literally said, if Milei loses his election, I'm just going to walk away from Argentina. Good luck out there, Argentina. And the absurdity is that, again, Trump says, I'm with this man because his philosophy is correct and he may win it. And then Trump continued, he may not win, but I think he's going to win, and if he wins, we're staying with him, and if he doesn't win, we're gone. Which, again, is it's hard to, just think about the insanity of this. Saying that Milei's philosophy is correct and is going to grow Argentina's economy. And if it doesn't grow, we will pump it full of money until it does. I can't even think of an analogy. It's just it's like the square peg in a round hole. It's like, listen, if you hit that peg hard enough, it'll go in that round hole, right? And the fact is that, again, most economists are going to tell you that a super libertarian bend, and Argentina may probably need it, and a peso that is collapsing may end up being okay for Argentina in the long run because it'll make presumably their exports more competitive. That's the core libertarian idea of a free floating exchange rate. But again, the real world is more complicated than this, and every real economist is going to tell you that you can't simply have a intervention-free economy. You can't simply totally free float your currency, especially when you have an economy there is no economy that has zero state involvement. Every country's government is involved in their economy in some way, shape, and form. A lot, a little, right? And so trying to be like, well, the state shouldn't be involved at all is not working. Or maybe some specific policy. Maybe it's just one policy that it's not working and a bunch of other policies are. It's hard to say. But the fundamental idea that Trump is going to make him right is just, it's philosophically opposed to libertarianism. I don't know what else to tell you. Anyway, guys, hit subscribe. Thanks to our Colonel tier members, Yanko, Georgiev, Baston Himling, Michael Fike, Christine Stillman, Chris Holmes, Deborah Oppenheimer, all of our Lieutenant tier members, including those of you guys that, I cover some controversial stuff. If you want to support me and not have your name on here, just shoot us an email. Let us know. I get it. The government doesn't really like all of this negative reporting. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. Cheers.